Hi, hello, welcome. It's Pip here, queenpipcards.com. Today I am working with this brand new Blossoms in Bloom stamp set. It's not available today, it's available tomorrow from my website. Yesterday you might have seen over on my blog I did a couple of very simple cards for my team blog hop. We did a Royal Stampers blog hop, which was great fun. So I showed these two cards using this stamp set, just a couple of pieces from this stamp set actually, just this edge of this big flower here for this one, and then I used just these two little flowers here for this one, and this uses Seaside Spray and just a touch of the new Misty Moonlight at the back there, and then this uses Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape. So because we don't have the in colour inks yet, that's the thing, we need to get those when the catalogue goes live along with all of you guys, so we're just waiting for that to come through. So in the meantime I thought I would do another couple of these today. So I've done these, which are pretty, and just used the stamp set and a little bit of daubing on this one, and I wanted to do these again but show you some different ways of doing it with a really old technique that I haven't used for a long time, which is the reinker technique. So so we've got lots of stuff going on this morning. Anyway, so, or whenever you're watching this, it's morning for me, but there we go. So those are the cards that I've done. I got carried away with this stamp set, just love it. So first of all, it's photopolymer. It comes like this, with a sticky sheet like that. It's a huge single stamp. It does have a set of dies, and tomorrow we're going to look at the dies, so don't worry, we'll look at the whole bundle before the end of the week, because the dies are just gorgeous. So, but I wanted the stamps to shine too, because I think the dies are something that everybody will like. Oh, look at the dies, look how marvellous they are, but actually the stamps are just as beautiful. So you need your largest block for this. It won't fit on an E block, or it's just too, I can't get that to fit, it's just too big. Either the biggest block, which is block F, or your Stamparatus plate, because you can do that on there too. Okay, so that's our stamp, as it were, and now we're going to use the old technique, the reinker technique. So you just need some baby wipes. It's also called the baby wipe technique. I've got my silicone sheet down just to stop the ink getting everywhere all over my desk, and then I've got 3 reinkers. This is crushed curry, and you just drop, you're just making your own ink pad up basically. So we're just going to drop a few drops of crushed curry around the place, okay, like so. And the good thing about this is you can just wipe off the nozzle on the end of it so that you don't have any drops going anywhere. So I've got that, I've got Cajun Craze, no, I've got pumpkin pie next, and then the next one's Cajun Craze. So crushed curry, pumpkin pie, because I wanted to go different to the blues and purples and things that I'd done before. Now what you do want to do is get it to the point where these start soaking into each other, so it forms like a solid ink pad. So make sure that you've got enough ink going on your mat. Then we'll fill in all those gaps with some Cajun Craze, and I'm kind of thinking these are sort of some kind of geranium-y kind of flower. I don't know what they're supposed to be in reality, if indeed they're supposed to be anything, or whether they're just a, you know, a nice sort of random flower design. There we go, pop those in. Now if you've got any more gaps, go in and fill it up with your lightest colour. So that's crushed curry, so we'll go and pop some there, there, bit there. And I'm having to make this so big because it's such a big stamp, and we don't want to get it muddy in its first outing, as it were. Okay, so once you've got that, you then use that, and you can see now where the gaps are going to be. So we need a bit more over here and a bit more over here. So let's add a bit more pumpkin up here, and then okay, a bit more crushed curry, because it's such a large stamp. That's the thing. But don't worry, you're not wasting this ink, you'll get to use it multiple times, and that's the great thing about this technique, it changes every time. Okay, so we're going to try and ink that up in sort of one go, but if you do miss any, keep coming back down, just shift it slightly, but not too much, because the more you shift, the more muddy you're going to make your stamp. So you want it to be kind of not too in your face. And then what we do is we get our pierce mat, which thankfully it is now coming back. It's not retiring, which is great news. And then we're popping this straight down on here. Now you can do this any way you like, this way, this way, this way. I just sort of like my flowers coming across from a corner. I think that looks quite nice. But we are going to put leaves on so we can come out a little bit this time. And then you're going to want to really press that down because you haven't got as much ink as you would normally from a normal ink pad. Okay, so push that down, make sure it soaks in. And when you lift off, you have a mottled look like that. Now we've obviously missed quite a lot of the stamp set with that one, but I still quite like the look, so we'll keep that. And then we'll go back in and we'll do this again. So we're going to need more ink to come onto all of these because it's sort of a variegated, so we'll have to squish it a bit harder on the actual thing to make sure that it is coating. It does look like it's coating. So we'll just keep going. Yeah, that looks a bit, that definitely looks like it has colour on it. So let's try that again. Give it a huff so that it's juicy. And then pop that down. This looks better actually. This looks like it's actually got a bit more ink on it. There we go. Leave it, leave it, leave it. Let it settle. Let it soak in. There we go. That's better. So the flowers are definitely not solid. You know, they are a watery coloured, sort of watercolour washy flower. But this obviously doesn't have as much definition as previously. So we'll just have to be careful how we ink up the rest of this so that it doesn't look out of place. So we're going to need a piece of grid paper, and for this I like to use my little mini grid because it just fits nicely on your Stampin' pierce mat. It sort of doesn't overhang too badly because we want to do some stamping on and stamping off so that we can make that sort of a light looking effect when we put the leaves on, because that's what we're going to do next. So here is a leaf. We've got several types of leaves actually. Oh, let me bring this over. So we have this leaf which sort of looks a bit sort of oakish, and then we have this leaf which looks more birch-like or normal leaf-like, if you know what I mean. Okay, so we'll pop this one on here. There we go, and then we'll just use a small block for this one. That should fit. Yeah, lovely. And then what we're going to do is, this is shaded spruce. We're going to use that for the leaves, but we're going to stamp off because we don't want it to be too bright when it goes on, because then it'll just detract from the nice sort of mottled watercolory effect we've got of the leaves, I mean of the flowers. So something a bit more like that. See where it's a bit, stamp off twice. You can add a leaf in here. Brings it down to the same sort of shaded tone of the flowers. There we go. I'll just add a couple more. I'll put one up there. I'll stick one over there. Okay, that's sort of surrounding that now. Then we can just add a couple of the different leaves if we feel like it. Just to give a little bit of extra greenery. There we go. Now, don't be dismayed at this point by the empty spaces that are in the middle of the flowers, okay? Because for that we're going to go back in and we're going to use this piece, which could be a small flat leaf, but actually also works nicely as a centre. So on these ones I use the dotty effect centre, but I don't think that'll work as well with the reinker pad. So we'll go back in again, and this time I can go back in and I can choose specifically which part of the ink I want to pick up. So I'm going to pick up that Cajun Craze and then go back in and pop my little centres in there, and then I can go and pick up one that's a bit different colour, so, and so it sort of adds a bit more meaning to the centre of those flowers, sort of hides that bit up. I don't want quite so much of the gap in between. Now if you wanted to, you could of course just do all of those as one colour, but I like the idea of mixing the colours up, making sure they're quite strong. So we've got a nice sort of mixture going on with those central pieces. I forgot to take my alarm off my phone. Okay. There we go. So it's definitely a more sort of watercolory, even more Monet look than before. But it looks nice if you then add it to a background. So we're going to use some Cajun Craze and then a crushed curry base here, just to bring out that crushed curry that's in those tones. See, that starts to bring that now into looking a little bit more like a card rather than just some random splodges on a page. So we'll stick that down, and it just depends on how fancy you want to get, whether you want to leave the image to sort of stand for itself, or whether you want to you know, put some different sentiments. Or so I think I'm going to add some ribbon at this point. We have this lovely terracotta tile ribbon that's in the, what's it in? It's in the Ornate Garden Combo ribbon pack. So that would look nice across there, I think. So we'll just pop a piece of that on, because it's not too heavy a ribbon, it's quite nice and light. And then I'm going to knot through that and put a little sentiment on as well. So I'll turn this over. You can see I'd done this as a background previously, a long time ago. This shows you how long it's been in the back of my drawer. There we go. So we'll pop that on. Glue that down. This was the old burlap. It's finished now, sadly. Retired. Gone. Make sure you've got your front. Pop that down on there. There we go. How lovely. How cool is that? It's a real autumnal feel to it, completely different to the other cards I did with the Highland Heather, which was so bright and light and cheery sort of thing. This is definitely an autumn card. And then we're going to just tie a knot in the piece of this ribbon, and you can decide how you want that knot to go. If you sort of twist it underneath and tie from underneath, you get quite a nice flat top. So that's a good tip that my friend Celine kept and gave to me many years ago. It's a great tip, that. So there's that. So you get a nice flat bow. Knot. And then we're going to use a small piece of, you're going to use a small piece of this and a small Whisper White. So one of my normal Whisper White ones. Now we do have some brilliant sentiments. That's another reason why I love this stamp set. Get well soon. Hello. Thank you. Thinking of you. Happy birthday. I like you a lot. I sure do miss you. So I mean, just a really nice sort of selection there. So let's do a thank you, because I send loads of those. Although this would actually, I mean, I think you could probably give this to a man as a birthday card, don't you think? I mean, it's kind of flowery, but kind of not, if you see what I mean. So we'll stamp this in shaded spruce. I'm loving shaded spruce. It's such a nice colour, and it's not just for Christmas. That's what I want to tell you. It's not just for Christmas. Okay, and then with our classic label, we'll just punch that out. Like so. And then I'm going to just punch out a shaded spruce, and we'll just map this one behind. So to do that, you just glue on here and then pop your sentiment on top of it, but with a little bit showing. So just an extra edge there showing. And then I want this sort of coming out like so from there. Alright, and I think, do I need that on dimensionals or will I just pop it straight? I think just flat actually looks okay, doesn't it? I think so. We'll just do flat for once. It seems weird not to do dimensionals, but actually I think that looks okay, just flat. So I'll pop that in, just tuck that end in there, like so. Yeah, that looks cool. And we can pop the bow so it does that. Look at that. Pretty. So that is a very quick how to use your reinkers, or ink refills as they're now called. I must remember to use the right name. They're now called ink refills. But yeah, just this image, these two leaves and some baby wipe, and you can carry on using this like we did for the filling in of the central flower pieces. You can carry on using that until it dries out, and if it dries out a little bit too much, spritz it with some water and it will re-energize that. Eventually it will go muddy, so it will just turn like a real brown colour, although because we've only got 3 colours in here and they're all on the same sort of tone, it won't go that bad. It will just become like a new orangey, yellowy, browny kind of colour, so it won't be any of our distinct colours. But yeah, that's how you do that with the re-inking technique, and I think it looks lovely both in defined bold colours or just more wishy-washy re-inked colours. I think it looks lovely. So there you go, that's the first in our series. As I say, I did so many of these, so I'll put all of these up on my blog so that you can see them, but they're all based on a theme, you know, which is just the single flower stamped into the centre of the card base. So tomorrow we'll get to grips with the dies that go with these, because the dies are just delightful. And these are just if in case you're wondering, these are just the glitter enamel dots, which are just gorgeous gold glitter enamel dots. But yeah, so if you like this, you can purchase it through my store from tomorrow. You can't do it today, not available today. You have to do it tomorrow. So, thanks for watching. Take care. Come along tomorrow and I'll be doing more with the Blossoms in Bloom and the associated die set. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.